Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be sitting today with Master Alchemist Stella Edwards. She's going to be teaching us a lot about how to transform your internal grief into minimalist or simplistic excellence. Hey, Stella.
It's great to be here. Um, I hope I can bring something to you that can help enlighten one person, even at least one person, to come to an understanding around the things that I feel have been quite helpful for me.
I'm excited to intro you as a viewer to one of my guests today who will introduce herself and her brand. And we're going to learn from how she has transmuted and transversed many chapters in her life and prepared so much excellence in her leadership. Hey, Stella, how are you today?
I'm feeling good, thank you. So my name is Stella. I I feel that I am a master alchemist, and I seem to be supported that way by the king. And it's a pleasure for me to be here to share with you some of the things that I have experienced with the hopefulness that what I have experienced may become important information or even pieces of important information for anyone who who is living through this life, this thing called life, the ups and the downs, the questions, the answers, the search for oneself and one's soul and one's spirit. And I think it's very important to appreciate and understand that silence is there to sit within. And when you sit in silence, you will be very surprised at what you can learn. And when you go back and forth through the ebb and flow of your life and understand the things you have gone through and understand, well, I'm still here and look what I've learned about me. And I'm going forward with that knowledge and I'm learning as I go. So I'm a learner. I'm a learner and I'm seeking growth. And I appreciate the growth that I've made. And I appreciate the opportunity to share anything that I have learned from my experiences that may be helpful to any person. And so I hope you can enjoy it. And my message comes directly from my soul and from my heart and from my life stories, which have been quite, I've lived my life in truth, even from a very young age, through the experiences that I journeyed throughout. So if I can reach out to anyone, that would make my soul feel lighter and happier, and I would wish the same for you.
For our teachings today, I know that we're going to be learning something very specific in context to silence and um, sophistication. Can you just reintroduce that title and just give a soft intro of what sophistication of silence is for you?
Sure. I wonder how many people know the value of being still and sitting in silence. Because in a world like we have today, there seems hardly to be a moment, not enough the space to sit in silence. Even when you try and carve out a piece of silence in a park or in a forest, the noise can easily come by. So then you have to choose, what am I doing here? Am I staying with the silence? Am I enjoying the nature? Am I touching this tree? Am I noticing the birds? Or am I distracted? And it's a very intentional, cognitive way of having to direct the brain to say, I'm being here with me in this moment of silence. And this will serve me well. This will give me great richness. It may come with practice. I think practice is very important with it. I was fortunate enough that I grew up near the ocean, so I played at a beach almost every day. So I kind of learned the gift of being close to the sea and having my own beach to play on. But it's never too late to create your own beach. You can create it in your own house if you want. But it's very significant in human growth, in human expansion, the human brain, and most importantly, the human soul and connectivity to other people, understanding of other people, and all of the differences in the world if you get to know yourself. But you will not get to know yourself if you're distracted by noise. So you turn out whatever noise it is that's distracting, whether it's noise, whatever type of noise. I won't give examples because each to their own. But so sometimes music can be a noise in the background that's actually soothing to this process. For other people, it's not. For me, it is totally. But it's so important to sit within yourself. That's where the silence is. It's within yourself. It's within your soul, in your thoughts, and reminding your thoughts, excuse me, thoughts, but I need a moment to not have you bothering me right now. And I just want to listen to the birds, or I just want to listen to a song, or I don't want to listen to anything, but I just want to be. And just being is magical. There's something about just being that will draw so many things towards you, even animals, if you like animals. But there's something beautiful and magical about just being and being still. And that's where you find a sense of sophistication. It's like a higher level of existence. And the sophistication is more about feeling, wow, I'm no longer here and wondering and worried about this thing. I'm way up here and I'm like a bird and I'm looking down and I can see that there is a sophistication. Like I'm the big bird, the big bird in the sky that's looking down and seeing myself and thinking, you're quiet and you're liking it and you're learning from it.
That's the alchemical power comes in that silence.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. I feel it does.
Hmm.
That's where it comes from for me. It has served me quite well in my lifetime.
That is incredible. So let us know how you are learning from these techniques of alchemy when it comes to the sophistication of silence. And really, what it sounds like Stella is teaching us is how to, let's say, quiet the lower natures and allow the higher natures of your higher self to come
Yes,
forth to make the
the
best
higher
out of the
self.
moment. Yeah.
And there's
So,
another piece to add on to that too, Hiru. Um,
hmm
the importance of allowing change to occur.
hmm
And if you're fearful of change, which is completely understandable, I don't know anyone who has not been fearful of change. But if you sit in the silence, silence will almost like cover you in a cozy blanket and will allow the fear, give you comfort to face the fear. So then between, I guess, working with that comfy blanket and the higher self, then the fear starts to get a lot smaller.
Perfect. In this moment where, this quantum wealth that is Stella as she is sophistication of silence. It sounds like the true intellect of the higher self, not like compounding all of these wars through sex energy, anger, passions of wanting. What are your thoughts on that? Is that what you're meaning by the sophistication of silence?
And I was thinking a lot about how people say they want to be silent and peaceful, but if people really wanted to, then they would just stand still or they would be peaceful. I had this kid ask me one time, why is the whole world at war all the time? And I said to her, I think she was 10 years old, not enough people want peace. And I think that's the same thing with your own stillness. If you really wanted it, you carve out time and you just sit and you'd say, I'm being still, or my heart needs to be still. So that's really important to me. You see, it's not just the term. Silence is not a term. It's a decision and it's intentional and it's beautiful. But so many people are rushing through their silence and saying, well, I'm busy doing this, I'm busy doing that. Really, nobody's busy doing anything because everyone has stuff on their agenda. But if we don't carve out a time to just sit still and feel, well, who am I? Or um, who was I? What did I learn from who I was? What do the trees look like? My trees are budding in the backyard. So this is the time now to sit or stand and take a look at that and appreciate that still moment. But people are not willing
That's
to invest, not unless they pay a fortune to a shrink or whomever, or to you. But I think I'm hopeful that more people will take the time to be still because it's a very frantic energy that's circulating around and it's hard to navigate it. I personally find my daughter and I were out just 2 days ago and she wanted to do several things. And I said, well, honey, I really have to get home. Let's go to our backyard because there's so much noise. And she said, but mommy, there's no traffic because it was a holiday weekend. And I said, I know, but the energy of the people, it's so noisy. So why don't we go home? And she's like, yeah, phew, let's just go home. And I thought, smart kid, right? So
beautiful.
I don't know if enough people understand or if it, hmm. not understand. Um, it's like living in a glass house. Okay, like you can see who's living in glass houses because it's all such a facade. But the glass houses always break, and what we'll find is that there was never peace in there to start with. There was never stillness. There was a rat race to keep the glass house getting higher and higher and higher, and making larger and larger windows so people can take a look in and see all the things you have. But I bet they won't find peace. They won't.
That is so incredible. That reminds me of like what we discovered in our last session,
Mhm.
how you really have this mastery of like the underworld or the mastery of death and grief. And this
Mhm.
reminds me of that, like saving space to grieve and have those
Yes.
full arc life death cycles, and how people just keep persisting through pain, persisting through internal deaths.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think grief needs to be understood as being a partner for one thing,
Yeah.
because all of the traditional philosophy and psychology, everything points to, oh, the stages of grief. Okay. And everybody buys all these books on these are the stages of grief. Grief is not measured by any book or any stage. It's measured according to the amount of love felt for the loved one that you've lost. And if the love was quite deep, your grief will be deep and it's going to take its own time. So most people recommend, according to all of my colleagues, 1 year and you should be okay. No, that means nothing. 1 year means nothing. So grief to me, I've come to learn grief or to welcome grief as a friend. And I thank grief because I wouldn't have gotten through losing my dad, as I told you last time, at age 50, he was 50, and two of my brothers without having a place to go to grieve because we don't really share grief. We can get together in a grief group or we can go see a therapist, but you have to come home and face your own grief. And what do you do with it? You better learn to do something with it because it's not going anywhere unless you tackle it. That's it. Yeah.
And I guess there we land at like the sanctity of silence, like the
Yeah.
sophistication of silence, but also the sanctity, the
Exactly. That's
sacredness.
beautiful.
Yeah. And I like that you actually are a very bright woman internally. It's not
Yeah.
just
Thank
intellectually
you.
bright, obviously, but like the spaces of exploration, you are painting broad strokes. So I love it. What's your idea of this combination of minimalism and simplicity? It really showing itself as like the foundation of Stella's excellence or brightness, and that polarity, that sort of like balance of push and pull for defining Stella. Can you tour me through that beautiful high low that seems to be Stella's point of power?
Hmm. Lack of distortion. It's either
Okay.
you take a look at something, you take a look
Mhm.
at something, you decide, how am I seeing that? Am I seeing it through my own vision or through the vision of whether it's qualification or quantification of other people or messages or TV? Like I don't even watch TV. Um, but how do you view things? And if your vision on something is solid and just grounded, then you're not distorted by things. You can own your own thoughts. And I remember meeting a guy who survived the Holocaust, and I asked him, I was sitting having tea with him. I said, how did you survive that and be a normal person? And he married a woman from Newfoundland. And I said, how did you do that? And he said, I learned during the whole experience to think my own thoughts. And I said, that's amazing. And what he meant by that was never allow someone to decide your thoughts for you. Think your own thoughts no matter what. And now my throat's trying to stop me from talking. You know how you say the throat chakra?
Yeah.
How do you say that again? Would you? Chakra.
Yeah,
So when I
check it out.
say, if you stay aligned with your own thoughts and just keep a focus on what was I thinking before that happened or before this happened? Oh, this is what I was thinking. It's like a centering of your soul, your mind, and then you can take your step forward. Other than that, sit down and gather yourself. That's, that's my lesson to myself. And I say it to my daughter too. Until you figure out what it is you really want to say or how you want to move, let's just sit still and let it come to us and we'll figure it out. And it's working. It's working. I think it's a good little lesson for kids, but also for big kids too.
Great lesson for big kids.
Yeah, I'm a big kid. Mm.
So now we're speaking about really getting to the, I guess, the essence of life through this technique that you are teaching me and teaching the viewers of simplicity, minimalism, distortions, and sophistications or sanctities of these silences. So I want to
Yes.
just pause us just to kind of like give you a heads up or just show you the work that we're doing, which is like
Okay.
pulling out Stella's teaching technique, um, giving you the space to teach it as a thought leader, and calling it a thing so you can see how we're creating kind of like a specificity behind your truth.
Mhm. And
It's
that's
really,
it. That's the magic word, truth.
yeah.
That is everything, not someone else's truth, not the truth you read in a book, or that someone, a bestseller from on the New York, what is not Stock Exchange, the other one, best-selling list, not
Hmm.
someone else's book. What is your own truth? Write it on a piece of paper. I've written things on napkins in restaurants, like, and I brought it home and I thought, yeah, that was my truth. So people, it would be nice for people to understand what having your own truth is, not the truth, but your truth or my truth, I guess I need to say there.
Hmm.
And that made me think about tower moments too. You know how I'm learning this from you. Tower moments. It always seems when I hear people talk, not you though, you have a different perspective, but when I've heard other people talk about tower moments, it's like, oh, get ready, like get ready, get ready, get ready, because everything is going to crash around you, and it's going to be, oh my goodness, how are we going to climb up out of that? But actually, tower moments are a gift because that means something is ending, which means change is knocking at your door. And change will not come around unless it needs to. It will not, but it will certainly come around when it knows it needs to be felt and to be present. And a person knows that. That's what scares the person. It's not change, it's just that they know it's time for change. I feel that's my experience. And what
Yeah.
an opportunity! What an opportunity. Like take the tower moments every day if it means you can get through certain situations and realize, wow, like, that change was important. And I've been wanting to do that for a while.
Hmm. That's really nice. And I guess that's an additional way to like continue to refine truth, allow truth to be kind of like tested through these catalysts of distillation. Like the more that things change, what remains the same, I guess, within me or within my
Yeah,
sight.
right.
I see. You're really showing us, uh-oh, the lights are switching, how to
Oh,
how to whittle down like gold out of life's, how to whittle down our diamonds out of the coal that life gives us.
nice. That's nicely said. Very
Yeah,
nice.
you're very much so an alchemist.
Thank you. I discovered that I don't sit long in um, negativity or other people's negativity or in something that could become problematic. And even watching loved ones die, I wrote about this last night actually, and I thought about it's a sad thing to experience, and that was the most impactful three things in my life. And my mom and dad were very close, and so that was a tough time for her, and then my two brothers, as I mentioned to you before. But then I realized we don't own the people that come into our lives and that love us. That's a gift. So I have been given a gift. So it's best not to cry about the gift I was given. It's best to be grateful for that gift. And then when God says, well, take my hand, I will hold your hand as I take this loved person back to me. And that makes a lot of sense for me to think that way because they're on loan. They're not here for me. They're here for their themselves and their own lives. And then when the time comes where they have to return to whomever they, well, God is what I feel. Um, let them journey in peace. Let's not trouble them as they're preparing with our grief and tears. I'm thinking it's an important time for me in my life to never forget the people and never lessen my grief in terms of my love, but lessen the style of my grief and sit with it, but not linger with it. That's not good at this point. Yeah.
Hmm. Can you repeat for me one more time? You said lessen the time that I'm in grief?
Yeah. Not the actual time that we understand as time, 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, but the time of the soul, the time of the heart, the time of the pain, because we're never going to
Mhm.
forget people that we really love. There's no
Yeah.
limitation put on the length of time we still think and cry a tear for someone we love. And that will probably go on until we leave and travel elsewhere or whatever people believe in what happens after this life. But in terms of the time, how much
Mhm.
time? Now, what am I doing with the time when I'm grieving this person? Am I crying for me, or am I honoring that person and saying, thank you for the time you gave me by being in my life?
Yeah.
Because that's a treasure. Not all
Mm.
families can say that they have 8 brothers and they're like cool kids, like cool cats, right? Like they really are. Or like 3 sisters and a mom and a dad that worked hard, but are good people. Not all people can say that, but I
Mhm.
can. So what am I going to grieve about? I was given everything. I had all the love in the world, not materialistically, because we weren't a well-off family. We were on the poorer side of things, but there's nothing we lacked. Nothing.
Mhm.
So it's the time we use to either heal and honor the person, or do we choose to extend the time of the initial pain that's far more brutal? It feels more like a war of the spirit or the war of a soul. And they wouldn't want that for us. I don't want it for me. I wouldn't want it for you. I wouldn't want it for anyone.
A beautiful way of alchemizing what's in front and pulling out, I guess, how you prefer to feel within.
Yeah.
It is a true alchemical recipe.
Is it?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's really
I
nice.
don't know why I called myself Master Alchemist, to tell you the truth. Hiru, I have no idea. I went with Stellar Conduit because a friend of mine suggested that to me. And then I thought I started reading about alchemy when I met you, and I
Mhm.
thought maybe I do something like that, but I'm not sure. And then before I knew it, I had typed in Master Alchemist, and I tried to change it, and the system said to me, "No, you cannot change that for 6 months or 1 month or 6 months." And
Yeah.
okay, I really wasn't intentionally trying to solidify that title. I was playing around with it, but you know me and computers and technology. And now
That's
I
good.
got stuck with the name. I even said to you at one point, I'm not feeling very comfortable with that name. And you
Yeah.
said so clearly, "Hmm, really? But it really suits you." I remember the
Yeah.
expression on your face when I was watching you on live stream. And you said, "Oh, really? That really matches you. You are an alchemist." And I thought, maybe he knows.
And here
Yeah.
we discover like, all of these like spiritual knowings, they are truths, but then through our conversations, we see, wow, look how God has like worked and made the moment perfect. You really are a
Yeah.
master alchemist.
No
Yeah.
tricking God. There's no
No
tricking
tricking
God.
God.
No
Seriously,
way.
not at all. We kind of just have to like go along with the ride and be open to
Yeah.
discovering we got here.
Like go with the flow or just, zip it, because there's no tripping up God. Okay, we'll see you there.
Alrighty, I'll chat with you soon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.